So Brutal Force came out in 2003 and it's such a weird little game on the Xbox, or the original Xbox. It's set in this futuristic sci-fi universe where it's like a squad-based shooter where you just sort of like take on the role of Brutal Force. And yeah, I don't really know what else I can really say as to much of the story. That's pretty much it. Now the game was developed by Digital Anvil, whose only other games I could really find were Star Lancer and another game called Freelancer, both of the same franchise. So safe to say this sort of development squad really like science fiction. But getting back to Brutal Force, it's this sort of third-person squad-based shooter game, kind of like sort of you think of like your Rainbow Six, but probably not as intuitive. And out of the 4 members of the squad, you sort of you'll see a bit more of them in the later missions and later the gameplay that I've captured, but there's kind of only 4 of them, and they have like your standard 2 of them. The 2 men are sort of like your DPS, your tank, and then you have a stealthy girl, Hawk, and a sniper. So pretty much your standard early 2000s squad shooter. But one of the things that really stood out for me when I played this game a lot as a kid was that you could switch between each of the characters using the D-pad, and for me that was like one of the first times you could ever do that in a game, where you could literally just control your full squad and then just switch between them. I know there's probably loads of other games that did that at the time, but this was, for me, was the first one that did it, so it always has that little sort of special place in my heart, this game. Another thing that I really loved about this game is the graphics. I thought the graphics were incredible. For a 2003 game, these graphics are pretty much on level with a Knights of the Old Republic or Mech Assault 2 if you saw last week's video. They're just really nice, really crisp, almost like early Xbox 360 graphics this is. And I just think it was huge for me back then, like a game that looked this good. Looking at it now, it's alright, it's a bit weird, but I still think it's really good for the time. And if you are watching the gameplay thing there, there is a reptilian dinosaur creatures in this game that are just there. They don't really explain the alien species. They're just out of the squad you've got basically 2 humans or 3 humans and a dinosaur, and the game doesn't really do much to explain why there's just a lizard person or lizard folk in your team. It's just like, oh yeah, no, we're sci-fi space like opera, and the only other thing that's not humanoid is this massive dinosaur, which you can see in the gameplay at the moment. Now, in absolute classic early 2000s fashions, they couldn't really think of a good name for this crocodile humanoid mutant freak, so they just called him Brutus. Can you guess if he was the tank of the team or not? The other thing I quite like about him is his gun is a slingshot, and I think that's just really funny. Now, when this game released, it had very mixed views, which is probably why a lot of people haven't played it or didn't play it as much as I did. So some people gave it like a solid, like Edge magazine gave it a 5 out of 10. Straight down the middle, yeah, it's alright. But then official Xbox magazine gave it an 8 out of 10. So, you know, a little bit better, but I also think it was a only on Xbox game, so probably a little bit of bias there going on, don't you think, official Xbox magazine? But overall, very mixed response, pretty much a middle ground game. But it's a good middle ground game is what I would say. It's pretty fun. The mechanics are simple, but they work. Like, it didn't glitch on me. There isn't any glaring graphical issues in this game. It's just a really fun old game, old third person shooter, squad based tactical game, and yeah, I would really recommend it. But I would be absolutely fascinated to know if there's anyone else that played this game or just liked this game, or if they knew what happened to the franchise. I tried to do a bit of research to find out if there was ever a sequel in development or anything like that, and there's just nothing. It's just like looking into the abyss. There's nothing there. So if anyone has any information on this or any memories of this game, please comment below and let me know. I'd love to know more about this. But yeah, that's Brutal Force, a third-person tactical shooter from the early 2000s. And that's all I've really got to say about that. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.